Assalamu alaikum everyone. Today the topic we will be discussing is the human eye. So what is an eye? Eye is a sense organ that is responsible for our vision. Whatever we see using our eye, and the stimulus for the eye is the light. Our eye have photoreceptor cells that detect the light and make the image able to us to see for us to see. Photoreceptor cells. So let's label the eye. Firstly, this is the lower eyelid, lower eyelid. This is the upper eyelid. These are the eyelashes. This is the tear gland. This is iris. This is pupil. This white area of our eye is cornea, which is transparent. Okay, so I have labeled the eye from the front, and I hope you understood the labeling. This may come in P2 or either in P1. So you should know that what are the parts of eye when from the front side of the eye. Let's have a side view of eye. So this is a diagram that I have made, and I know my drawing isn't so good, but I hope this would help you to understand the structure of eye and its part. Firstly, you should know all the parts of the eye. So the first thing which I have highlighted using this this thing using the gray color, it is known as muscle. Rectus muscle. So it is a muscle that is holding our eye, and here this muscle are also here. Then the first layer of our eye, which I have highlighted using the blue color, dark blue color, this first layer is known as sclera. Then the second layer of the eye, which I have highlighted using orange color, the second layer is known as choroid layer. This is the second layer of the eye. Then the third layer. So the third layer of the eye is retina. Here the image is formed. Then this portion that I have highlighted using a multicolor pen, this is the optic nerve where the nerve impulses are sent to the CNS, central nervous system. This portion, which I have highlighted using the pink color, is the chamber. Okay, now this one, this curved side, is cornea. Then this portion that I have highlighted using purple color is the pupil. Here, the pupil is present. Then this muscle, these are ciliary bodies that I have highlighted using multicolor pen. ciliary bodies. Then this thing, these are also a type of muscles that hold our lens. I have highlighted using green color and they are suspensory ligaments. I have used different colors so you can easily identify that which part I have labeled in the diagram. The last thing that is left is this, which I'm highlighting using green color, is the lens. I hope you understand. Just two things, structures are more remaining. The one that I have highlighted using the red color is fovea or yellow spot. This is almost between the retina, and at this point the image is formed, and you can, and due to when the image is formed at this point, so uh you can see the image. Then now this at this point where the optic nerve is formed, at this point there is a blind spot where no photoreceptor cells are present and no image is formed. All the parts of the eye are completed and I hope you understood it. I have I got an image for you so you can have a look at the parts of eye. The first part, which is this, is optic nerve, and I told you about it above. Then here's the fifth one, the first layer of the eye, which is sclera. Then cornea, which is ninth. This curved part is cornea. Then the second layer of the eye, which is six, it is choroid layer. Then the third layer of the eye, which is retina, it is labeled as 4. And then iris is labeled as 12. This is iris, this portion. Then ciliary bodies, which are labeled as 7. Then suspensory ligaments, which are labeled as 13. Then pupil, which is labeled as 9. Here is the pupil. Here is the pupil, 10 one. And what else is left? Fovea, which is labeled as 3. I told you that it's at almost the center of the retina. Suspensory ligaments were at 13. I think all the parts are covered. Yes, the lens, which is at 8. So this one is the lens screen. Now let's look at the functions of these parts of the eye. The first part of the eye is which I have written is the retina. So what is the function of retina? The function of retina is a sensitive layer that consists of numerous nerve cells. So retina have numerous nerve cells. It converts images formed by the lens into the electrical impulses, and these electrical impulses are then transmitted to the brain through the optic nerve. And due to this, we can easily detect that what is in front of us and what we are seeing. Then the second part of eye, which I have written, is sclera. So what is the function of sclera? The function of sclera is the outer covering, a protective layer, a tough layer. And you can see the white part of the eye, which you can see is the sclera. Then the third part of the eye is choroid layer. So choroid layer is a thin layer of tissue that is the part of the middle layer of the eyeball between the sclera. So simply you can remember that the choroid layer is between sclera and the retina. Sclera is the first layer of the eye. The second layer is choroid layer, and the third layer is retina. So so the choroid layer is in between the sclera and the retina. The choroid layer is filled with the blood vessels that bring oxygen and nutrients to the eye. So the function of the choroid layer is to bring oxygen and nutrients to the eye as it contains blood vessels. Then the fourth part of the eye is the blind spot. Blind spot is a spot is the junction of the retina and the optic nerve where no sensory cells are found. At the blind spot, no sensory cells are found, so that's why it is known as the blind spot, and no vision is possible at the blind spot. You cannot, no image is formed at blind spot, no vision is possible at blind spot, you cannot see anything. Then the third, fourth, fifth part of the eye is the lens. So behind the pupil, there is a transparent structure called the lens. By the action of the ciliary muscle, it changes its shape to focus light on retina. So by ciliary body help, it changes its shape to focus light on the retina. It becomes thinner to focus distinct object, and it becomes thicker to focus the nearby objects. So you have to remember this thing when you look at an object that is away from you, so your lens become thinner. And when you look at an object that is near to you, your lens become thicker. Now, fovea or the yellow spot, it is the part of the eye where the photoreceptor cells are present. Photoreceptor cells are present. Then we have suspensory ligaments. This ligaments is responsible for maintaining the support and the position of the eyeball in its normal upwards and forward position with the orbit and prevent the downward displacement of the eyeball. So you can just simply remember this function of suspensory ligaments, and the function is that they are responsible for maintaining and supporting the position of the eyeball normally. Just they support the eyeball. Then we have ciliary bodies. So their function is they are found behind the iris and includes the ring shaped muscle that changes the shape of the lens. So the function of ciliary body is to change the shape of the lens when the eye focuses. It also makes the uh, it also makes the clear fluid that fills the space between the cornea and the iris. Between the cornea and the iris, there is a fluid, and this fluid is made by these ciliary bodies. With this, these ciliary bodies change the shape of the ring-shaped muscle to change the shape of the lens when the eye focuses. Then we have cornea. So the cornea is a clear outer layer at the front of the eye, and this help your eye to focus the light so you can clearly see, as the cornea is the transparent layer of the eye. So the function of cornea, you can simply say that it's a transparent layer. It helps the light to reflect and bends the light so the image is formed at retina. Then we have pupil. It is a small opening in the iris, which is known as pupil. Its size is controlled with the help of iris. It controls the amount of light that enters the eye. Further, in this chapter, we will be studying that how the pupil control the amount of light that enters our eye. Then we have cone cells. So there are two types of photoreceptor cells present in our eyes, and one of these cells are cone cells and rod cells. There are only two types of cells that are present in human retina, and these are the photoreceptor cells. Firstly, cone cells are responsible for the vision at the low light level. However, rods cone cells are responsible for the vision at a higher light level. However, the rod cells are responsible for the vision at the lower light level. Cone cells are the nerve cells that are more sensitive to the bright light. So these cone cells are more sensitive to the bright light and they help to detail the central and color vision. Just you have to simply remember that the function of the cone cell or the cone cells are the photoreceptor cells present in our retina, and they are more sensitive to the bright light. However, the rod cells are the optic nerve cells that are more sensitive to the dim light. Rod cells are more sensitive to the dim light. So you can remember the rod cells sensitive for dim light like this. Uh, D for dim light and R for rod cells. And it can be C for the cone cells and L for the, or it can be CB. C for the cone cells, L and B for the bright light. So you have to remember this that cone cells are more sensitive to bright light, however, the rod cells are more sensitive to dim light. Then iris. The iris helps to control the size of the pupil to let more light to let more or less light enter into the eye. So the function of iris is to control the to help the to help control the size of the pupil to let more or less light enter into the eye. These were the parts of the eye and their function. I hope you understood the functions. Now let's move towards the next topic of this chapter. So this is our skull, and the portion where the eye are fitted is known as orbit. The main thing of this chapter which you need to remember is, or you need to memorize, is that bright bright light, when the light is bright, the size the pupil size is smaller. When the light is bright, the pupil size gets smaller because the circular muscles contract and the radial muscles relax. When there is bright light, the pupil size gets smaller, circular muscles contract, and radial muscle relax. However, when there is dim light, circular muscles relax and radial muscles contract, and the pupil size become bigger. So in dim light, our pupil size become bigger, so more light can enter our eye. However, in bright light, our pupil size becomes smaller, so less light enters our eye. And this is one of the important things you need to memorize in this chapter. Then accommodations. Accommodations. You need to also know what are accommodations. For distinct object, the light rays are parallel, and for the near object, they are diverging. When the object is distinct away from your eye or away from you, the light rays are parallel. The ciliary body relax and the suspensory ligaments taut. The lens become thin. However, when the object is near, ciliary body relax, the lens becomes slackened, means thick. When the object is near, so this lens become thick. Now the defect. So what is the defect? Defect means that the image is not clear. Short-sightedness and long-sightedness. These two terms, you need to remember these two terms and what happened in this. So you can say that in easy words or for your ease, short-sightedness means दूर की नजर and long-sightedness means करीब की नजर. You can easily remember this like You can easily remember this using these terms that short-sightedness means दूर की नजर. However, the long-sightedness means करीब की नजर. I think it's much easier to remember these two terms using the Urdu terminology. So short-sightedness, in short-sightedness, the lens should be thin, can't properly, the lens couldn't be properly thin, and the light rays merged before fovea. Before fovea, fovea is a point where the photoreceptor cells are present and the image is formed. Before fovea, the light rays merge, due to which the image isn't formed in front. The image isn't formed on retina. Instead, the image is formed before retina. So that's why the image isn't formed completely, clearly, you can say. So this is how what happens. In this case, you can see that the image is formed before the retina. This is the retina. Image is formed here. So to cure this, this is known as myophobia. So to cure this, a concave lens is used to correct the short-sightedness. What happens that when this is a concave lens and it is used such type of questions can come in MCQ P1. When this concave lens is used, so the image is formed on retina. So in short-sightedness, the image is formed before retina. However, in long-sightedness, the image is formed after retina. So long-sightedness, what happens in long-sightedness? The lens can't become thick properly. So in long-sightedness, the image is formed after the retina. However, to cure long-sightedness, glasses are used and the image is formed on retina. So I hope you understood this chapter of eye. Thank you.